Alright guys, welcome back. So now we are going to actually send all this data from our register form that we created in the last video. We're going to send all this data into our database. So let's go in here into our auth.js, these controllers, okay? And the first thing I'm going to do in here is, if you guys remember, we did the last time this console.log to see all the request body. Actually, I forgot to put something. I would like to put on my register form. So if I go in here into my register.hps, I would like to add an extra input in here for a password confirm. Okay, so I'm gonna copy all of this. Let me just increase this a tiny little bit. So I'm gonna copy this and just paste it in here. I'm on my register.hps. And now this label is going to be for password confirm. Okay, and in here I'm just going to say on the front end, confirm password. The input is going to be of the type password. The ID is going to be password confirm. And the name, this is how you can actually grab it with Node.js later on, is going to be password confirm as well. Okay, I'm going to refresh my page and now I have this extra field because when the user is registering, we just want to make sure that their password is the same. Okay, so they don't accidentally type something wrong and then they can't log in. Okay, so we got this. Now let's go back into our auth.js, our controller. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new variable in here, and let me see, I'm going to call it, I'm going to call this one, for example, the name. So I'm going to do const name equals to request dot body dot, if you guys remember, let me try to see if I can make these next to each other. I can probably do it. Look, in our register form, like I said before, the name of our input in here, which has the name, is name. Okay, so I'm going to do in here const name equals to request.body.name. Okay, I'm going to do const. Now I'm going to do email is going to be equals to request.body. If I go to my register form, what is the name of these inputs in here? The name is email. Okay, so if the name is email, I can grab it with Node.js in here with request.body.email. Okay, and then it's going to be the exact same thing for the password and confirm password. So const password equals to request.body.password. This is the name of that input that we got in our form. And finally, I'm going to create another constant in here called password confirm is going to be equals to request.body.password confirm. All right, guys, now, because we actually have the same names of the variables, these names that we are creating is completely up to us, okay? And these names in here, these are the ones that are coming from the form, okay? Now, because these two names, look, password confirm and this one in here, they match, we could actually rewrite these in another way that, so we don't have to write all of this code. So let me show you what I want to do in here. So let me just go down here 2 times. And now I'm going to do this const. I'm going to open some curly braces. I'm going to put the name. I'm going to put the email. I'm going to put the password. And I'm going to put the password confirm. All of these in between these curly braces is going to be equals to request.body. Okay, so this line in here is exactly the same like all of these. So this is called destructuring in JavaScript. When you have a variable up here with the name is equals to something else in here that is going to be the same. Look, request.body is the same everywhere, as you guys can see. So we can just destructure it this way. So now I can just use this variable called name, email, password, and password confirm. And it's exactly the same like this. So I'm just gonna delete this. This is just to show you guys that you can do it. Okay, now that I got this in here, I'm gonna start querying into my database. Okay, so I'm gonna start querying into my database. So for that, I'm gonna do a db dot. I actually need to import my database in here because I didn't import it. So I'm gonna do db dot query. I'm not sure why this is coming up all the time. Okay, db dot query. So what I actually want to do, I actually need to import this database. So let me see the connection up here. So let's just put like this. We need to have our connection up here, so let's do it. So let's go back to our app.js. If you guys remember, we got this connection in here, so we could just grab it. Okay, we could just grab it and we could just put it inside. Okay, we got the connection up here, but remember guys that we also need to have our MySQL imported. So if I go back to my app.js, I'm gonna import these. Okay, so I can just put this on the top. So we got this one in here, we got this one in here. Now, there's one thing that I would like to mention to you guys is that this code in here that we have is exactly the same code that we have in here on our app.js. So maybe if you guys want, you could just like create it on a different file and then you can just import it wherever you want. I'm just gonna leave it for now, but I'm just showing you guys that this is possible if you want to. Okay, so now let's go back to our auth.js. So we imported MySQL, we created in here the connection. Now in this register, I'm gonna do a db.query. Remember, we got this db up here, which is our connection to the database. And the query that I wanna do first of all is select email. Okay, I wanna select the email from my users table. Okay, let me just actually open in here my, okay, I'm gonna go into localhost, php my admin. I actually had this closed, I'm not sure why. So I'm gonna go in here, where is it? Which is this one in here, this database. Okay, Node.js login, and we got in here the users table. So I want to select the email from my table users, okay, where the email is equals to a question mark. Okay, so what do I want to say in here with this? So this is a MySQL query that we are going to look into our database. So I'm going to select a column of email. Do you guys remember when we created this table of users? If you click in here in users and I go to structure, let me increase the zoom in here so you guys can see a bit better. The structure, we have this column of email. Okay, so I'm going to select the email from the table users where the email equals to a question mark. So we are doing these kind of positional parameters just to try to avoid some SQL injections. Probably you guys have heard about this. You can do a bit of research into that, but this is all about security. So we got this in here. This question mark is going to be the value that we actually want to look for into our database. We are doing this because when someone is registering in your website, in your project, you don't want the same person with the same email registering 2 times, okay? So one person with one email should only be allowed to register 1 time. Okay, so after this, I'm just going to put in here a comma. Okay, I'm going to put a comma, and now in here, I'm going to put the value that I want to put in this question mark. So I'm going to put an array, and now inside, I'm going to put the value of the, I'm going to put the value of the email, which is coming from here. Look, from up here, we grab these from the form from before. Okay, so this, and now I'm going to run a function. So I'm going to do a function that takes an error or a result. Okay, so it takes an error or results. So I'm going to put a function. Okay, so this is my query into the database. So I'm just going to increase this a tiny little bit so you guys can see. And now I'm going to say, if there is some error, okay, this is just to show you guys, when we run this query and we have this callback function in here, we can have some error. For example, if your connection to the database is not correct, or if you have something wrong, you will have some error, or then you will have some results that are coming from the database. So if there is an error, okay, I just want to do a console. So I just want to do a console.log of the error, so I know what the hell is going on. If not, so if there is no error, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do if results is greater than 0. So results, basically, when you grab these results in here, it's going to come up as an array. Okay, so you want to know how many results you get. So to do that, you're going to do results dot length. Okay, because I'm going to show you in a second what these results actually brings. So I'm going to do if results dot length is greater than 0, it means there is already an email with that value on our database. What I want to do is I want to do a return. I'm going to put in here a return. So we just skip all the rest of the code that goes down here. We just want to stop it. This is what the return does. So I want to do a return of res.render. And I want to render my register page. Okay. I want to do a res.render with a register page. And then I'm actually going to send a new value inside of this register page. I'm going to send this value of message, and I'm going to say that email has been taken, or that email is already in use. Okay, I could say this. I'm going to do after else if, and now I'm going to say, for example, to check if the password and the password confirm are the same or not. So in here, I'm going to do a else if my password, okay, is different from the password confirm. So if the user was trying to register, but he put both of the passwords differently, okay. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to copy this code. I'm going to paste it in here. And now what I want to do is I want to render my register page, but with a message of, for example, the passwords do not match. Okay? Passwords do not match. So this is what we want. Okay, if all of this is fine, so if nothing of these happens, let's actually just try this first of all. The first one is not going to work because we still don't have any emails or any users registered in our database. So we're going to try this in a second. So if this is happening, we send this message. If this is happening, we send this message. So we could actually just go into our register page and find a place where we could put this message. So if I go down here, so into my register, so after everything, okay, this is where the div with a container starts. So my card is in here. So after the card, okay, so after the card in here, this is what I'm going to put. I'm going to put in here, I'm using the handlebars, the HBS, so I can actually use a if statement. So I'm going to put in here hash if, okay, this is how you do an if statement with handlebars in this kind of templates. You're going to do if message, okay, if you have a variable message with some kind of content. So this is going to be either true or false. If you are sending a variable in here called message with some value, this is going to be true. Okay, so you start a if statement like this and you close the if statement like this. So if you have a message, you want to display something in here like h4, for example, with a class of alert danger, and then with a little bit of a margin top of, I think this is like 25 pixels if I'm not wrong, this MT4. You guys can have a look into that. And then inside, I'm just gonna put the actual message, okay? If you wanna put some variables, look, message, you need to put it in here. This variable, if you guys remember, look, it's coming from here. When we render the page, we send this message with some sort of value. We're gonna try this in a second. So if we don't get any of these errors, now what we can do is we can actually start, for example, hashing the passwords. So I'm gonna stop this server. If you want to stop your server from running, you just press Ctrl+C on your keyboard. And now we actually need to install something called the bcrypt.js. Okay, so the bcrypt.js will allow you to encrypt the passwords, because you always need that your users that register on your website, you need to make sure that you encrypt their passwords just to keep everything safe. So we're going to install bcrypt.js. So let me just see. We're going to do a npm i bcrypt.js. Okay, so npm i bcrypt.js, that's the name of this application. So I'm just going to install it. I'm not sure if we did it before, but if we did it before, we should already have it in here. Just double check your package.json. It should be in there. I think there is also something else that I want to do, which is I want to install as well a cookie parser, so we can start using some cookies. Okay, so I'm going to do npm I think I forgot about it. So I'm going to do npm I. I'm going to do cookie parser. So we do cookie parser, and I also want to install the JSON web token. Okay, npm I cookie parser JSON web token. And I think that's it, if I'm not wrong. So let's install these two things. Okay, we should be all good. Okay, now let's go back to our auth.js. I want to import first of all my JWT, which I'm going to show you in a second. Why is it? Const JWT, which is for the JSON W tokens. Okay, require, I'm going to put JSON web token. And I'm going to import as well my bcrypt. So I'm going to do const bcrypt. Look guys, some of you sometimes make some errors. I'm just going to call it in here bcrypt, but the actual package is called bcrypt. Oops, let me just go in here. So bcrypt.js. Okay, this is the actual name of the package, but you can call it, if you want, just bcrypt. Okay, now that we got this, let's actually encrypt our password. So I'm gonna go down here after all these if statements, and after this, let me just do a little bit of space. Okay, this is still inside of the original DB query. Okay, look at this final curly braces that are closing down everything. Okay, I'm gonna go in here, and now I'm gonna do a let, for example, hashed password, and now this is gonna be equals to await. Okay, because we are using an await in here, because this process of encrypting the password could take a few seconds more than what the code needs to run. So we need to make sure that we put in here on the top async. Okay, on our function, you have in here an async, and now you can use the await. So I'm gonna do a bcrypt. Okay, remember guys, I'm calling it bcrypt and not bcrypt.js because that's how we call it up here. Now I got this bcrypt in here. I'm gonna do bcrypt dot hash. And what do I wanna hash? I wanna hash the password that we grabbed in here on the top. And how many rounds, how many times do you want to hash your password? So this is just the process that bcrypt is using to make sure that you can make as many rounds as you want to encrypt the password. Usually by default, a very secure one is 8 rounds of encryption. So this should be good. After this, I'm just going to do a console.log of the hashed password. Okay. So let's try this out now. Okay, let's start our server one more time. I'm going to do npm start to start the server. Okay, server started on port 5001, MySQL connected. So I'm going to refresh my page. I'm just going to try something random in here. So I'm just going to put password 123456. I'm just going to put some random password in here to not match with the first one to see if we got the error or not. It looks like that something was not working in here because this actually went through. So let me see where did we got this wrong. So let me see if it was on my register. On my register, I got the ID and I got the name. So this part in here, password confirm. Okay, let me see if we got something. Oh, maybe it was because on our auth.js, we got this res.render, okay, for each one of these situations, but then down here we are sending this res.send again. Let's just delete this for now, okay? This res.send, let's get rid of it. So I'm gonna try one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna press register. Now it should actually show me something in here. Oh, I see, because my fault. I should put the wrong passwords again. So I'm gonna put random password, and now look, I got passwords do not match. So this part of the passwords do not match is working. So then we actually wanted to do this one. So I need to do in here for now just a res.send of testing. I just want to see on the console this hashed password. So I'm going to refresh this just to reload the page. Let's go back, refresh the page. Okay, I'm going to put something in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Register. And if you guys see in here now on the terminal, we got this hashed password. So this is what we want. Okay, now that we got this hashed password, what I'm going to do in here is the next thing is start actually adding these into the database. So after this, let's get rid of this res.send that we don't need anymore. I'm going to do a I'm going to do a db.query. Okay, so this time what I actually want to do is another SQL query that we're going to do, which is insert. Okay, when you want to send something into your database, you're going to do insert into your table of users. You want to set, okay, you want to set something, okay, and then in here where you put the set, basically you put a question mark, oops, where is it? You put a question mark, and then in here you put an object with the values that you want to set. Okay, so in here, I want to put on my database with a column of name, I want to put the value of, if you guys remember up here, we got the name from our form. Okay, so I want to set the name on the database. This is the first value. This is the name of your column on the database. And the second one is the value that you are grabbing from the form up here. Okay, then I also want to put the email, okay, the column of email in my database with the value of what? I want to put the value of email. Okay, this is also what we are grabbing from the form, this second value. Finally, okay, we're gonna do this one, the password. Okay, this is the password. And what is the value that you want to put inside of your database in here on the password? You want to put this hashed password that you just created. Okay, so after you have this, okay, after you have this one in here, you can put a comma, and we're gonna run a callback function one more time. So this callback function can have an error or some results. Okay. So like before, what you can do is, if there is an error, you just want to do a console.log of the error. Okay. If not, else. Okay. Else, what you actually want to do is just putting in here a console.log, or you could just do, for example, a res.render like we did in here. So return, let me copy these up here, with the res.render of your register and with a message of user registered. And just before it, I could just put in here a console.log of my results. So we could see it in here on the terminal. So let's see if this is working, guys. Okay. So let's go to our register. I'm going to put Telmo. I'm going to put telmo@email.com. Okay. I'm going to put the password 123456. I'm going to put the password 123456, and I'm going to put register. Okay. And I got in here now a user register. Okay. This is a message. And down here on the terminal, I got an object. I'm not sure if you guys can see. Look, an object with the name of Telmo, the email, the password, and all of these things in here. Okay. So now what I want you guys to see is on our database. Let's see if this is actually got registered into our database. Go into your Node.js login database, select the table users, and now if you go in here on the top to browse, okay, let me just increase the size of this window. Look, we got this user with the ID of 1, the name of Telmo, the email, and then the password completely hashed. Okay, so now as you guys can see, we got this first user registered in the database. Let me actually try to register another user with the same email to see if we got that error from the beginning. Okay, so let's go to register. I'm gonna do Telmo. I'm gonna put telmo@email.com, which is the same. Okay, 123456. 123456. Now we should get an error saying that the email is already been in use or something like that. Look, it does not let us register again, and it gives us this error of that email is already in use. Let me just refresh the page to make sure, and look, there is still just one user in there. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. Now we are able to register users into the database, but in the next video I want to add a little bit of a feature in here that whenever you register someone, you actually want to place a cookie into your browser so this user can actually just log in straight away after. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one.